Well, tomorrow is Super Bowl, as I'm sure most of you, if not all of you, are aware.
Sure.
Now, here's something I want your thoughts on. Maybe you have thoughts on this, or maybe you don't give a shit one way or the other.
Okay.
As you know, many corporate sponsors spend a shitload of money on, what is it, $4 million for a 30-second spot on Super Bowl?
Yes, sir.
Well, one of the more entertaining aspects of Super Bowl Sunday is seeing the creative commercials that some of these corporate sponsors come up with.
Right.
But for some reason, the trend as of late has been releasing these commercials ahead of the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I have seen that.
And
lately.
it's just like, that kind of like takes the fun out of it if you actually seek them out and see them ahead of time. And I thought that was kind of, the fun of watching the Super Bowl aside from the game, to see who comes up with a funny, clever, silly, memorable commercial.
Right.
But like I said, now they're releasing them prior to the Super Bowl.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And I think that ruins it. But if you're paying $4 million for a 30-second spot, you want as much exposure as you can get.
Yeah, but they're not paying. They're not. That has nothing to do with the $4 million that they spent.
Well, I know, but the idea of the $4 million is to get the most reach you can, and being Super Bowl Sunday is a very highly rated show. Or time slot, or however you want to call it. They need to get as much exposure as they can, so they release them on other outlets like YouTube and whatnot,
right,
to be seen. But I think it's just sort of like a deflating thing if you see the commercial prior. I guess it's like opening your Christmas presents before Christmas if you're into that kind of thing.
Well, since you know nothing about
that's what I'm saying, if you're into that kind of thing.
It's useless because let's face it, if you've seen the commercial already, like I'm sure you saw that there's a Doritos commercial with Steel Panther in it,
right?
That's gonna air or has air, but it's already out there. You can already see it now. And you know what? If I'm sitting around, I'll be honest, I don't really give a shit about the commercials. I mean, sometimes they're funny, sometimes they're not, but I'm not one of those that actively watches them. But I know this, if I've seen that Steel Panther commercial and 1 second of it starts on my screen,
you're off to get something to eat.
Going to get a beer, get a hot dog or whatever.
Exactly. Exactly.
I don't understand how they think that that's not what's going to happen. I'm not going to sit there and watch that.
Yeah, I know. Which is why that was kind of my point. And then, I heard a lot of commentary this week. I guess GoDaddy released a commercial which just shows me how gullible the average public is out there.
Yeah.
Did you hear about this GoDaddy commercial?
Haven't heard nothing about it.
This GoDaddy commercial, early release, was, quote unquote, they're going to be their Super Bowl commercial.
Okay.
Now, most people don't read into this, but as soon as I saw it and heard about the uproar of it, it's just like, people, are you so dumb that you realize that this is all a ploy? What it is that this pickup truck is going down the road and it's got this box of puppies.
Okay.
And it was basically spoofing the Budweiser commercials because, they're always into the puppies. Puppies are so cute. And well, anyway, long story short, this puppy gets bounced out of the back of the pickup truck.
Okay.
And you basically follow this puppy's journey through hell and high water, over railroad tracks, through the woods.
Okay.
Finds its way back to the barn where the rest of the puppies are.
Okay.
And there's a woman in the barn, and the puppy comes running in, so happy to be home because he found his way home after being bounced off the truck.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, hey, look, buddy found his way back. It's a good thing, too, because I just sold you on this website that I built with GoDaddy."
Oh, boy. Really?
Yeah. And so it says, "Move him out." And basically this puppy is like thrown in this van, and this van pulls away with it. And
Nice.
So people are all up in arms that this was really cruel and what a mean commercial, and this little puppy made its way home and you sold it and it's like a puppy mill and blah, blah, blah. You know, just all this, these overly sensitive dolts.
Right.
And so, of course, using the power of social media and using change.org, all these people signed this petition saying, we don't want this commercial. You need to pull that ad. Okay. So, of course, the GoDaddy president comes out and says, well, due to the overwhelming response, we're pulling this ad, right?
Right.
So we're going to substitute that commercial with another one on Super Bowl Sunday.
That we just happen to have already made.
Yeah, that's my point. It's like, so this was the whole run-up. So they got 2 bangs for the buck.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just like, well, let's watch Super Bowl Sunday and see the other commercial that's going to air in its place. You know what I mean? But I heard talk radio this week playing into the whole, well, GoDaddy did like this humanitarian thing and pulled the commercial due to public uproar.
Right.
It's like they had no intention of running this on Sunday.
No.
That was the whole idea, was to get you engaged.
Yeah. Instead of spending $8 million, they spent $4 million. They got two commercials out of it, and they got the full power of the Super Bowl advertisement for
Exactly.
Smart business.
It is. I agree. They did the smart thing, but people are so caught up in this nonsense of social media and Facebooking and tweeting and, you know, signing a petition and protesting over a stupid commercial.
Yeah, enough. Well, that's it. Everybody, we talk about it all the time. You gotta share my view. If you don't, then we're gonna have to protest you.
Yeah, we're gonna have to beat you down because you don't share my point of view.
That's right. My point of view is right.
Exactly. So they did the smart thing. They marketed it just right. They released it at the right time and got the public reaction they knew they were going to get.
Sure.
And now they got a whole new commercial ready to roll tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. And they'll do and I don't know this, but GoDaddy's usual mantra, which is just, again, is brilliant. And it's another way that they double capitalize. They always make their commercials where it's like risky, but then they have right at the part where Danica Patrick's going to show her pussy or whatever. Fucking, they have it to where they're like, okay, go to GoDaddy.com to see the rest of this.
Right.
And then they get the hit from it, and then then Danica Patrick does nothing.
Yeah.
But, they've done that for several years.
I know.
So good for GoDaddy for working the system. I'm for that. I use GoDaddy. I like that.
They always got the good big boob chick.
Yeah, they do.
They always got the girl with the big boobs.
They know how to play.
Yeah. I wonder if Veronica could be GoDaddy girl.
Well, she probably could.
Yeah, she could be the GoDaddy girl.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. Nice. All right. Well, speaking of Super Bowl commercials, I just accidentally stumbled on, because I'm one of those people who like to see them during the Super Bowl. So I won't watch the early release because I actually want to see it during the game. I'm like you. If I see it during the game and I already saw it, then I'm not going to watch it.
Second half, you barely watch the game because you're up doing other shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Well, anyway, apparently, if you're a child of the 70s,
okay,
one of the most famous TV shows of the 70s was the Brady Bunch.
Yeah.
And probably one of the most infamous episodes of the Brady Bunch is when Peter threw a football and it hit Jan in the nose.
Oh yeah. Oh my nose.
Yeah. Oh my nose. Everybody knows that.
Right.
What is that? What is the guy? What is the guy's name that was in that movie? He's the Mexican guy with the long hair.
He was in Sons of Anarchy?
Yes.
Danny Trejo.
Yeah, him. Well, he apparently is doing a commercial, a Snickers bar commercial.
Okay.
Where, they did with Johnny Manziel, where he's doing the whole yoga thing, and he says, "You need a Snicker bar, man," and then he turns back into who he really is.
Right.
That whole thing, or Joe Pesci.
Right, sure.
Well, I guess he's doing one where they took that old Brady Bunch actual scene from the Brady Bunch TV show.
Okay.
And he's in the living room taking the place of Jan after she got her nose busted with a football. and she's him, or he's her, or whatever, however you want to look at it. And he's standing there with an axe, threatening to go after Peter and axe his ass for throwing that football and busting her in the nose. And then he eats a Snickers bar and turns back into Jan.
Nice. Okay.
Right? And then Peter is Steve Buscemi standing at the top of the stairs.
Jesus.
So anyway, I just accidentally saw it as part of a news story.
Right.
So this is going to be part of a Super Bowl ad tomorrow for Snickers.
Okay. Awesome.